Hi everybody, welcome to today's webinar, Transform Your Practice Digitalisation with CCH OneClick. My name's Dean Shepherd and I'm the Senior Product Manager for our Compliance Solutions. So that includes our tax, accounts and audit products. I'm joined today by my colleague Natasha Kobrak, who's responsible for CCH OneClick and all the cloud tools that complement our CCH Central Suite. And today we're going to look at the tools we've built within CCH OneClick to help you on your journey to becoming a fully digital practice and what we think that means for you. So we'll be demonstrating the key areas within CCH OneClick that you can take advantage of today and how we're going to be developing these areas over the next 6 to 12 months. We'll have time at the end for any questions, so please use the question facility within this webinar. You can send them in to us and we'll try and answer as many of those as we can. If we run out of time or don't have all the answers for you straight away, then we will distribute a full list of all the questions and answers that have come in during the session. We'll also be sending out a copy of the recording itself and hopefully we'll get that out to everybody tomorrow. I will also try and keep an eye on questions as they come in live so that we can answer any as we go along. So, what do we mean by digitalisation? Well, at Wolters Kluwer, we see it as the use of digital technologies to change a business model and provide new revenue and value-producing opportunities. In other words, how can we do things differently to make life better for our customers and their clients? I'm going to give you some examples of what this means from our perspective. So, we've got secure exchange and approval of digital documents. So some practices have been using secure document exchange long before GDPR came into effect earlier this year. But from speaking to a number of our customers, many more are actually burying their heads in the sand a little bit, and since May have not really changed their business model or practices at all. I think that's a very risky road to be going down. So we've got some tools within CCH OneClick and the Central Suite that can help you comply and meet your obligations for GDPR. We've also been looking at collection of data digitally, directly from the source. So when it comes to data or information, whether that's information required to complete a tax return for your clients or bookkeeping records to complete a set of accounts, there's always one thing that never fails to get in the way and slow down that process, and that is usually your client. So if clients could provide their records on time every time, then all your tax returns should be done before Christmas. Now, if we can grab some of that information that you need directly from the source and cut out that middleman being your client, then we'll always look to do so and help speed up processes at your end. Another area is using that same data for providing multiple services. So one of the features we're going to demonstrate today is our ability to create a permanent live connection to your client's bookkeeping data. This is something we call open integration within CCH OneClick. And we can use this data for multiple purposes. So we can use that for preparing annual accounts, as you would expect to be able to do within accounts production, but also to submit quarterly returns under Making Tax Digital when quarterly reporting goes live from 1st of April 2020, or for anybody wishing to join the pilot before that. And we do have some practices at the moment that are in the pilot and making quarterly submissions using CCH OneClick right now. And we're also investigating how we can use this data to provide other advisory services. So most of our products to date have been centered around compliance and making sure that you can meet sort of filing obligations for your clients. But we're always trying to see how our products can use the same data to help you offer advisory services. And through our open integration product, that data could certainly be used for forecasting, and we've looked at building our own tools and connecting to other third-party products to give you the ability to use that for forecasting. And we'll also be looking at benchmarking and how that data could be used as an advisory tool in a future development of the product. Supporting a mobile workforce is always very topical. That comes up a lot when we speak to our customers, and allowing employees to connect to the data that they need whilst they're on the move. Here at Wolters Kluwer, we have a very mobile workforce spread out across the country, and I think we reap the benefits of having that mobile workforce. So we're building tools within CCH OneClick that will help you achieve the same. And if we can help you to change your business model for the benefit of yourselves and your clients, then that's really the aim of what we're trying to do with CCH OneClick. So what is it? Some of you will have attended roadshows that we put on back in April when we first launched CCH OneClick. Some of you may have attended the Making Tax Digital for VAT roadshows that we started last month, but some of you may also never have heard of OneClick and aren't really aware of what it does and how it sits within your existing CCH Central suite. And as the slide says it's complementary to your CCH Central suite. It uses the same database and respects your existing team security settings, so your employees will only see the same clients in CCH OneClick that they would be allowed to see within CCH Central. And it's a complementary set of cloud tools built in a way that gives you all the advantages of cloud technology, but without having to migrate to a completely separate system. So it is completely integrated to what you have today. So I'm just going to talk you through an image that our marketing department love. You can be the judge of whether it's a great diagram or not, but it does illustrate how CCH OneClick works and how it complements your existing CCH Central suite. So what you can see on screen here is kind of half of the working world as you have it today. So this is our existing CCH Central product. This is what you have installed in your premises, and it all centers around that CCH Central database. It's a very client-centric system, and then out from that comes our client tools, our compliance tools that you can use on those clients, and other tools that are used across the various compliance products. So that's the world that you know today. What we've done is built the cloud tools on top of the suite, so it shares the same central database. Data isn't being stored separately between the two systems. It runs off your CCH Central database and is fully integrated with that. And within CCH OneClick, we have this concept of two hubs or workspaces. So we've got an area for the advisor and the area for your client. So historically, most of our products have only ever been used by yourselves as the practice. But as our customers are requesting more and more collaborative services and ways of working closer with your clients are becoming, your clients becoming stickier to you as a result of the tools that you enable them to use, we've built this concept of having an advisor side and a client side to everything that we have within CCH OneClick. So some of the tools will be shared across both the advisor and client workspaces where it's appropriate for the client to use them, and other tools, as you do today, will be used only by yourselves as advisors, and they'll reside within the advisor workspace. So the various tools that we've got appear there in that diagram, and me and Natasha are going to go through those today and show you how we can use those to help digitalize your practice. We've got an extra layer here of kind of personalization and customization. So in your CCH Central suite today, you can personalize things like home pages so that employees can see the relevant information to them, and that's a theme that we're going to flow through in how we develop OneClick, so you can customize those workspaces for your clients and your staff to use. This is the WYSI bit. So you've got your on-premise CCH Central suite, you've got CCH OneClick that sits within the cloud and serves that suite and complements the tools that you've got. And then because we're using cloud technology and we can connect to other sources online, then we can pull in data from different places that really give you that power of cloud technology. So we can connect to HMRC, for example, the information that they will allow us to connect to for your clients' personal tax affairs and for their VAT affairs. We can connect to cloud accounting products through our open integration functionality that we're going to demonstrate a little bit later today. Banks and building societies are on the roadmap. Open banking is something that is really gaining traction in the UK, and we're always evaluating other open banking based products on the market to see if we can utilize some of the new tools and functionality that they bring. And we've also got GDPR swimming around the world that we work in, because that's really been a driver for people using OneClick when we first launched back in April before GDPR came into effect. So that's a little overview of how it works and how it relates to what you've got today. This is a little progress update on where we are with CCH OneClick. So we launched it back in April this year, and some of you may have come along to one of the road shows we held across the country. Now, the main reason people were taking up OneClick at that point was in order to comply with GDPR. So we do have some secure document exchange and approval functionality that Natasha will demonstrate to you shortly. People are also signing up to take advantage of access to their clients' digital tax accounts to support the 2018 tax return season, and also the ability to approve documents. So sending out tax returns for approval, that can all be done digitally, and clients can sign off and approve those without having to send paper to and from yourselves and your clients. And the overall theme of becoming a more digital practice for 2019 to try and get your systems and processes more paperless, more online, and I'll talk about that in a moment. What we're seeing now is that the biggest take up for CCH OneClick is for the upcoming mandatory date for MTD for VAT, which is of course on 1st of April 2019. Now, because this is such a key area, Phil Thornton, our product manager for all things making tax digital, is going to do a separate webinar. I believe that's next week, so you should have received an invite for that. If you don't have an invite, do drop us a line and we'll get that out to you. I think we've already got about 250 attendees registered for that one, and I'm sure that will be going up between now and then, and he's going to cover a full demonstration of everything that we've got within CCH OneClick to support your VAT filing, either from mandation on 1st of April 2019, or if you're keen to get a few of your clients into the pilot before then, so you can test out the software and test out your internal processes, then he will also demonstrate exactly how you can do that. So that last point there, becoming more digital in for 2019. Now, when I was in practice, I joined Wolters Kluwer at the beginning of this year after serving 20 years in accounting practice. And when I was in practice, my partners and I made the decision to go down the route of becoming a paperless office perhaps 8 or 9 years ago. And I don't think we were really ahead of the curve at that point. There were lots of other practices that were going down that route. And I think probably everybody on this call, whether you have become a completely paperless office or whether you're simply using less paper in your office, I think we're probably all somewhere along that journey to removing paper and removing manual processes. Now, when we started that journey, all we needed really was a good scanner, so that we could scan all the documentation coming in, a really good shredder, so we can get rid of all the documentation that we've been storing over the years, and a document management bit of software. I know when I spoke to other practices at that time, they would set up sort of filing, a series of files and folders on their servers to try and manage all the different paperwork that would otherwise be going into physical files. But we felt we wanted a solution that gave us more power and more flexibility to manage the flow of paper rather than just storing scanned images. And I think it was probably one of the best decisions we made to start that paperless journey and use document management system from the beginning. We do have document management software, so if you do want to learn more about that, then do contact your account manager or get in touch, and we can provide you with a demonstration of that. But what we really want to show today is how CCH OneClick kind of takes the next step, because what we found in practice was that although we were scanning everything as it came into the practice and we're getting it into our document management system, we weren't really reducing the flow of paper to and from the office. We were just reducing the amount of paper that's stored in the office. So clients were still sending just as much paper into us. We'd scan it all in and we'd shred it or send it back, and we were actually still generating just as much paper, sending it out to clients. So we'd still print out accounts, tax returns, engagement letters, pretty much everything we always were. We just weren't storing that paper in the office. And the next step that we didn't really take was moving away from that flow of paper and changing it into a flow of digital documents, because we didn't really have a secure method of exchanging those documents, and we didn't really have a method for a robust method for clients to be able to approve any documents that we sent out that we actually needed them to sign or approve. So Natasha is going to give you a demonstration of the tools that we've got within CCH OneClick that can help take that paperless office journey a little bit further.
Thank you very much, Dean, and hello everyone. So I am going to give you a brief demonstration on our message and document solution that we have within CCH OneClick. Now, for those of you who happen to, if anyone on the call has happened to use CCH Portal, which is our existing message and document exchange solution, then you will probably recognize a lot of the screens that I'm going to show at the moment, because in fact what we've done is we've integrated the product that we have and that has been live since 2013 into CCH OneClick. So that means that if you do take the step to moving over to CCH OneClick, you will find a very similar user experience there. Your clients will also find a similar user experience in regards to their message exchange solution, and all they'll see really is a slightly different front page when they log in to the online area. For those of you who are not familiar with it, I'm going to show you a little bit about it now, and I'll probably keep it quite brief, just the point of the demo. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to pop them into the question box. So where I am right now is an area within CCH Central called the Message Center. And if you have CCH Portal or if you've got CCH OneClick, you will see this tab here appearing within your client record. And what this tab does is it's an area that allows you to exchange messages and send documents to any of your clients. And you can also see a list and a history here of the conversations that you've had with them to date. Now, our messaging solution is integrated with every single one of our compliance products, and that's probably where the biggest USP lies, because the fact that it's integrated with all the compliance products means that if you happen to be working within personal tax, or if you're working within accounts production or any of these areas, any of the documents that you generated can be sent up to your clients by simply clicking a button. You can publish it straight up to them. And the beauty of that means that you don't run any risks in terms of downloading it, having to store it somewhere potentially insecure, and then sending it via email, which of course opens up the human error of potentially sending it to the wrong person. When you use it within the client's record and within the compliance products that you happen to be using, when you push it up, you know that that message is going and that document is going to go to the contacts that you choose within that particular client record. And that is probably one of the biggest reasons that we found so many practices really really doing their best to kind of take this product up after GDPR came into effect, because it really ring fences those communications. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm just going to send a very basic message just to show, give a little flavour of how it works. So as an advisor, I am sending a message to my client, Donald Blake, and I am going to write probably what I write, I think, every time I do these demos, which is slightly uninspired, but there you go. Okay, so I'm just writing a little message in there. Obviously, you can go ahead and write something a lot more elaborate. You can also choose a number of message templates to use, which you can configure within the application to really match the wording that you use within your business. But otherwise, I've just written a little message there to give a flavor of that. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to attach a document. Now, in this case, I'm just going to attach something from my local computer, but you can also choose the document management system if you happen to use it. I'm going to just pop it into a folder. Okay, and I'm going to mark it for approval. Now, what that means is that my clients, when they see this document on their side, they will be prompted to approve that document. And you can choose when you're marking it for approval, if you happen to have a number of contacts that sit within this client's record, you can choose whether all of these contacts have to approve it in order for it to be marked as approved, or if just one of them has to approve it. And you can also choose which contacts you want to view this message and which contacts you want to be the ones eligible for approving it. So it's really very, very flexible in terms of how you want to use it. So I've gone ahead and I've just sent, I've just attached that document there, and I'm just going to go ahead and send that now. So now that I've sent that message is going off to my client's CCH OneClick workspace, and you can see it's appearing in here, and you can see the number of times I've been doing these demos as well, all popping down the bottom. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into my client's CCH OneClick workspace for you to see this. So now where I am, I shall go back into here. I'm going to go into the CCH OneClick workspace, because for those of you who are familiar with CCH Portal, who use CCH Portal today, this is where the biggest difference lies if you happen to move to CCH OneClick. Your clients will see this home page when they log in. Okay, and all they will have to do is go into this messages and documents area here in order to go into that message exchange system that they are familiar with, because it does look exactly like CCH Portal. So the experience is exactly the same. And once they're in there, they can see all the messages that they've exchanged with their client, with their accountant, all the documents that they've received, and they can see a big orange number here, which is a big orange flag for them to tell them how many documents that they have outstanding for approval. Now I'm going to pop into the messages area now, and I can see the message that was sent today, and I'm going to open that up. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tick this document, and I can see that my resolution is looking a little bit strange. Oh, there we go. Just I needed to increase the screen size. So what I can do here, once I've ticked this document, is I can choose to approve or reject it. Now, for the purposes of this demo, I've made this relatively simple in terms that I'm just going to tick this box and I'm going to press approve. However, I did get feedback when I was doing one of these demos before from someone who said, well, really, you know, you'd want to ensure that your client has read this document before approving it. And he's absolutely right, of course. We have a customization feature within CCH OneClick and also within CCH Portal that allows you to enforce that a client opens that document before they approve it. So if you have that selected, then I would not be able to tick that button unless I'd actually physically opened that document. So it's just worth mentioning at this point. However, again, for the sake of the demo, I have this option disabled, and I'm just going to go ahead and press approve. Now that I've done that, I'm going in and I'm putting in my passwords and I'm pressing approve, and what that's done is that's gone ahead and that's approved the document. And for you, the advisor back in CCH Central, you will have a notification that this document is now approved. Now, one thing as well I'd like to mention is we are building out a message and document exchange facility within the advisor's OneClick workspace. So that's in progress at the moment, so that you have access to that technology when you happen to be out and about. But what we you do have elements of that already in CCH OneClick. But what we also have is we have a native mobile app that you can download from the Apple App Store or from the Android Play Store. And as an advisor, you can download this onto your phone, and using your CCH OneClick credentials, you can access this application, and you can have access to all of your clients from CCH Central, all of your contacts within that application, and you can also see the messages that you've exchanged with them, and you can also send them messages and send them documents and even mark these documents for approval. So the same functionality that you have today within CCH Central, all available within this Practice mobile application. So you know, for anyone who happens to be on CCH OneClick, I very much recommend that you download it and have a look at it. It's actually comes free within CCH OneClick bundles. There's no additional charge to that, but it's something that a lot of people have given some very positive feedback on. So that's our message and document exchange system.
Thank you, Natasha. So hopefully we've been able to demonstrate how we can reduce the amount of paper documents that you would otherwise be generating within your practice and sending them out to clients in physical form. You can now do all this digitally. Of course, that doesn't always mean that your clients are going to respond in a digital form. Some clients are always going to take a little bit more persuading than others. So everything that we're building from the client side is designed to make the process quicker and easier for them, because if we can make things quicker and easier for your clients, then they're much more likely to engage and use the new tools that we're developing. Now, one of the key areas of information gathering that we have to do every year is collecting the tax return information, and that will very often still come in paper format. So what we've been doing is developing some data collection tools that your client can use to make the process of gathering, storing and sending the tax return information to you a bit quicker, easier, and allow them to keep a record of all their information in an easily accessible and secure format. So Natasha's going to demonstrate the tools that we've been building around tax return data collection that we hope you'll be excited to see, and perhaps use these as a replacement for the tax return information request letters that you might otherwise be gearing up to send out come next April.
Okay, yes, thank you, Dean. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you our digital data collection tools. Now, some of you will have seen some of this already, which because we did launch some of these tools way back in April, but we've done quite a lot of work in it based on feedback. So for anyone who hasn't been to one of our road shows, some of the features that I show might be new. Where I am at the moment is obviously within CCH Central, and this is where the journey begins, because when you happen to be working within the on-premise system, we have built in the ability for you to send out a digital information request to all of your clients. And we've kept that experience quite similar to how you would send a non-digital information request, in that what you have to do is be in the Find Client screen, and you can go ahead and you can tick in bulk all the clients that you happen to want to send this to, anyone who happens to be, especially anyone who happens to be activated for CCH OneClick, and then you can go ahead and you can press this button here, and that will send out a digital information request. Now, what will happen at this point is that your client will receive an email which will instruct them to either access it through their CCH OneClick browser or download a native application in order to use it through there. Now, the native native application is available for Android, and that's what we released back in April. And we have done some demos around that before. Today, what I'm going to show you is what it looks like within the client CCH OneClick workspace, because we had a lot of feedback from people saying once we built that native application, that though they liked the native application a lot, they felt that we really needed to build something within a browser because it was a bit more of a catch-all for all different types of clients. So that's indeed what we did, and we are going to show you now. Because once the client has gone ahead and has accessed their the email and gone through the link, which takes them into their CCH OneClick workspace, they will see here a digital data request area, which when they access will take them into this data request screen. And what this has is it has a list of all their sources of income, and the system bases it on their previous tax year. So it will take all the source of income they had in the previous tax year, and it will push it out to the client in order for them to go ahead and complete it. So in this case here, I'm going to, I can see a whole bunch of them there. I'm going to go into this one. Okay, and what I can see in here is I can see that the status is incomplete, which means that I haven't submitted anything and my advisor hasn't actioned anything on their side. I can also see the previous year's amount, which we think is really valuable because it really signals to the client what sort of information it is that we are looking for there, and an area to complete, which is an amount and potentially tax deducted. So I'm going to go ahead at this point and I'm just going to enter a value here and press save. Now, as well as being able to enter information, there's lots of other stuff that you can do as well. You can attach any supporting documentation that you may have as a client and that you want to attach to support the value that you've submitted. If you happen to be using the Android app, you can also take photos of supporting documentation and upload it through there. And we also have a nice little comments area here, which will allow you to exchange messages with your advisor if you need any help with anything else. Again, this is my demo environment, and you see lots of messages that I've sent through demos past, and I will go ahead and I will say, and obviously as an advisor, you know, as a client, you can go ahead and you can send this. This will be very much related to that particular source of income. The advisor will see this on their side and will be able to respond as well. So that's what it looks like on the client side. Now, if I go, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go in to the advisor side. Now, as is the case with every single one of my demos, I talk too much and then I get logged out. So I'm going to go ahead and log back in. Okay, and what you can see at the moment is the advisor's CCH OneClick workspace. So you can see a whole host of tiles here. Some are Wolters Kluwer owned tiles, and some of them are third-party tiles, which link out to third-party applications. And CCH OneClick is very much customizable, so you can go ahead and you can remove some of the tiles you're not interested in, or add some tiles that you are. And what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to go into the digital data review area. And what this digital data review area is a list of all those information requests that I've sent out. And as an advisor, I can go ahead and review the information that's come in. So the client that I'm working on is Donald Blake, and you can even see that latest comment that I posted in there. And I'm going to open up this area, and what I'm going to do is I can see straight away an orange bullseye that indicates that something has changed within this area. So it flags up to me that there's some new information there that I can see. So I'm expanding this now, and I can see that £150 that has been entered. If there are any attachments or comments, I can see those in there too. And if I'm happy with that information, I can go ahead and mark it as approved. If not, I could mark it as incomplete. And if I marked it as incomplete, then the client would get a message back on their side to advise that it had been marked incomplete. If they're using that mobile phone application, it would be a push notification on their phone. So I've just gone ahead and I've pressed approve, and I can go ahead and I can save that. Again, I think as Dean mentioned, we are very hopeful that people will seek to use this application for April 2019. We're actually doing a lot of work on our side. It's an application that we've launched a few months ago, but we are doing a lot of work on our side to really build out this product and make it a product that meets everyone's needs. Probably one of the biggest things that we're working on at the moment within here is the ability to commit the information that's in this section down into your client's personal tax return. So we have that already in some other products, which I'll show you later, but within this product we are building it, and we hope to release the first the first few sources of income out in February for people to be able to see what it looks like and really test it out in February and make sure they're comfortable with it in order to use it in April. So obviously the benefit of that is that you'd be able to select all the values that you're happy with that your client has sent back, and at a click of a button you push that all down into personal tax return, which really does away with any mistyping that might occur when you're transferring that data over, and a lot of time saving based on not having to spend a lot of time transposing information. So that is the digital data collection area.
Great, thanks, Natasha. I mean, that's an area, as somebody who's worked in tax for a long time, that I'm actually really excited about, and really looking forward to see how we develop that over the next sort of 5 or 6 months, because I think that could really make a big difference to the annual process of trying to get that information in from clients. Now, the one, I suppose, drawback with this solution is that it still relies on your client actually getting that information and getting it into the system. So however easy we make it for the client, it's always going to rely on them actually taking some action and doing a little bit of work behind the scenes. So as I mentioned right at the very beginning, we're always trying to explore different ways of bringing data into our system that we can pull from other sources that doesn't rely on a middleman or doesn't rely on your client taking an action to get you that information. So one of the sort of key areas that we've been working on is access to HMRC's digital tax account for your clients. So within the CCH Central suite already, within personal tax, we have the ability to pull that information from HMRC's database and present it as a PDF, which is all well and good. You've got that information there to use, but we've really taken a big step forward in terms of what we can do with that information and how we can use it with CCH OneClick in conjunction with personal tax. So Natasha's going to demonstrate that for you now.
Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into the Making Tax Digital tile within the Advisor's CCH OneClick workspace. And as I go into this tile, probably one thing that's worth mentioning, I'm going to go into the clients list now, and that is that all the clients that you see in here are clients that have been synchronized up from your on-premise system. So you'll find all of the clients in there. You don't have to re-add them in. They have all been synchronized up. And if you happen to have any team security in place, which means that there are any clients in there that are sensitive clients that can only be seen by certain members of your organization, then the CCH OneClick workspace respects that and will only show those clients to the correct employees who happen to have logged in. Now, in this case, I'm going to find my normal client. Here we go. Type his name properly. Here we go, Donald Blake, and I'm going to open him up. And what you can see in here is the Making Tax Digital toolkit. There are lots of different tabs in here, some which deal with the quarterly reporting for income tax, and also you've got lots of areas around VAT as well, which our colleague Phil will be doing a webinar on a bit later. Now, what we're going to focus on today is the digital tax account, and you can see here a list of several tax years. And as Dean mentioned, this facility already exists within the on-premise product CCH Central, but it is only available as a PDF. However, if you happen to be a CCH OneClick user, then this has been vastly improved. You'll see that it's available within the CCH OneClick browser, but if you happen to be within Personal Tax and CCH Central, when you click on the digital tax account button for that client, instead of seeing the PDF, this browser window will come up as well. And the benefit of this is that you can see all the information coming down here, and that's all the information that's held within the digital tax account for this particular client. And then on the right-hand side, you can see a panel that shows you all the information that's held within personal tax for those areas for this client. And that means that you can really compare and contrast and see if there are any glaring errors or glaring differences between those two sections. So, for example, here I can already see that I have a value here for this employment of 22,500 within the digital tax account, and yet within my compliance product I've got 225,000, which makes me think that someone back in the office was a bit trigger happy with the zeros. So there's probably a bit of a change that needs to be done there. Now, again, if you don't have CCH OneClick and you have the PDF, what you'd have to do at this point is you'd have to go ahead and rekey all those values into the tax return. But with CCH OneClick, all you have to do is just go ahead and tick the values that you're happy with. And when you're happy with them, you can press Commit to CCH Personal Tax. And what that does is it pushes those values down and populates your client's personal tax return. So if you think about obviously the time you spend rekeying that information, and obviously the chances of error there if you happen to put in the wrong number, this really is a big efficiency driver there. Now you can see I've gone ahead and I've committed that value there down into the personal tax return. I won't go into personal tax in Central due to time constraints, but you can see already that that value has been updated here. And for those of you who really like the PDF, you can still see it. All you have to do is press Export to PDF, and you will have a PDF version there if that's what you'd like to use.
Okay, thanks, Natasha. So that's one area where we're gathering data from another source that doesn't have to involve your clients or anybody else getting involved. You'll have that data at your fingertips. For those of you that have been using our existing functionality, or even looking at HMRC's digital tax accounts for your clients directly through their website, you will probably realize that there isn't always that much useful information available until perhaps around now, or certainly much later into the tax year, because it takes HMRC a long time to be able to populate their databases that actually hold that digital tax account information, even though they should be getting, certainly for employment income, that information in real time, or at least at month end every month. Now, HMRC did email us 2 or 3 weeks ago to let us know that they are now entering phase 2 of their pre-population program, which is all about making that information available in your client's digital tax accounts. And 2 of their key objectives for phase 2 is making that information available at the beginning of the tax year, if not in real time, and also extending out the range of information that they are going to make available. So they listed a few things: state pensions, student loan deductions, and interestingly for me, bank interest, any bank interest details that they hold for your clients. They're going to start making that information available in the digital tax account. And if any of you have noticed where you've got cases with multiple types of pension income, that's one area that they haven't managed to untangle very well to date. That's a key objective of theirs, to be able to give you a much better breakdown of pension income for your clients. So hopefully come next April, the next tax season, there'll be a lot more useful information in the digital tax accounts. The information will be available earlier, so this functionality that we're building within OneClick will be of even more use come next tax season. Now, another area within CCH OneClick that connects to an external source is open integration. So if I'm on the Advisor workspace here, we've got an open integration tile. If I just click in here, now what this does is creates a connection to your client's underlying bookkeeping records if they're using a cloud bookkeeping product. So if I just pull up an example that we've set up, Wayne Enterprises. Now this is the setup screen, and when you very first set a client up, you'll just identify which cloud bookkeeping product your client uses. And at the moment we can map to Xero, QuickBooks, Sage 1, Exact and Twinfield. We'll add more bookkeeping products to that list as and when you give us feedback that there's a particular product that you're using. We know that Sage still dominates the on-premise bookkeeping market, so lots of clients still use Sage Line 50 desktop versions. We are doing some investigations at the moment to see if we can offer the same functionality to Sage desktop users. But of course, the power of cloud technology is that these things are much easier to integrate with other cloud products, which is why we've hit those first. So what I'm going to do now is just move over to CCH Central Suite, which will probably be more familiar to everybody, and I'm going to find that same client within Central. So I'm going to open up the client up now, and what I've done here is set up a blank year end for this client, and if I just go in there, accounts production users on the line will be familiar with this screen, but what we would expect to see here is a trial balance in the main part of this screen. Now, because this client is a Xero user, what I'd be doing today without the functionality that we've developed is I would now go into a browser window. I would log into Xero as an agent. I would scroll down my list of clients to find this particular client, Wayne Enterprises. I would open that up in Xero. I'd go to the reports, accounting reports trial balance, and export that as a CSV. Now, when I take a trial balance out of a system, I'd also like to take a nominal ledger out of the system so that I can see at least the makeup of those figures on the trial balance before somebody, usually a client, goes in and messes up the figures. Xero don't make it particularly easy to extract a nominal ledger, so that would probably take me a little bit of time. Then I would open up that trial balance within Excel. I'd probably have a little bit of a play around with the formats because they don't always open up neatly with a CSV file, and just make sure that everything would go into accounts production okay. Then I'd come back into accounts production. I'd go to this import option here and pull that CSV file in, and then I'd have my trial balance nicely in accounts production ready to work on. Now, although that is much better obviously than typing every line of a trial balance into accounts production, it's still a bit of a timely and laborious process. So what I'm going to demonstrate to you today is how OneClick will make that process a little bit simpler. So we've got this sync with open integration option, and what that's done is pulled in the data from our client's bookkeeping records. So the way that open integration works is that overnight, every night, CCH OneClick syncs with the transactional bookkeeping data, so that every morning you have a live update of that data held within CCH OneClick's own data reservoir. Now, what you choose to do with that data really depends on what your current processes are. So if you do have anyone in the quarterly reporting pilot, or come 1st of April 2020, you start making quarterly reports under MTD, then you would go into the MTD area of CCH OneClick that Natasha demonstrated earlier. If you're preparing a set of accounts, then you can use that data to pull in, as I'm going to demonstrate now. And when we tie in other third-party forecasting tools and benchmarking tools, you'll be able to use that same data and be able to offer those advisory services. So we're reusing the same data for multiple purposes. Now, in accounts production, click and sync with open integration to pull that data in. Now, we've got a couple of accounts here that haven't yet been mapped. What we've done is set up all the standard mappings for the standard chart of accounts that come shipped with the different bookkeeping packages. But there'll always be a few when you very first do it for a client that may not be mapped. So you can just do a manual mapping here. So historical adjustment, let's put that into sundries and click OK. So what that mapping has done is stored that locally for this client. So anytime I do an import or a synchronization of the data with open integration, I won't need to do that mapping process again. You can also copy those mappings system-wide. So if you decide that those two mappings that I did there would always go to that same place for every client, then you can make that a system-wide mapping, or you can just leave it as a local mapping. If you're not happy that one of your users has mapped it to the right place, then you can edit those mappings, delete those mappings, do whatever changes you need to do. At the moment, within the live software that we've got here, it's just a one-to-one mapping. Our developers right now have built multiple nominal account mappings, so that if you have multiple codes within the bookkeeping package that you want to send to a single code within accounts production, you'll be able to do that, and vice versa. If you've got multiple accounts within accounts production that you want to send back to a single code within the bookkeeping source, then you'll also have that, and that will be out in the next release of CCH OneClick. Now, as well as having the trial balance information here, open integration actually connects with the full nominal ledger. So if I just click on one of those accounts, we can see the full nominal ledger that sits behind every account. So if you're solely working within accounts production, there's no need for you actually to keep going back and forth either between an Excel file or going back into the cloud bookkeeping package itself. You can see everything in one place. Now, if that's all that open integration did, that would be, I think, a nice big step forward from what we have today. But all this synchronization that we've got is two-way. So let me just demonstrate how that will work by posting a journal into accounts production. So let me just call that Dean's Journals. We have the date as the last day of the financial year. What did we have? Red, light and heat. Let's make a nice big journal there so it will stick out on the trial balance when I run that. Let's post it to rent. Okay, now if I post that journal, now for anybody that's suddenly worried that I've sent something back up into the client's bookkeeping package and you'll have juniors posting journals left, right and centre and messing up your client's records, there's no need to worry. That journal hasn't gone anywhere outside of accounts production at the moment. So we can see that rent there and light and heat have significantly changed. Now, when you do decide that the accounts are final, you've sent them out to the client signed them, you've got them off to HMRC, you've got them off to Companies House, and you're at that point that you've blown the budget and you're already thinking about next year and you're moving on to the next job, you've got that arduous task of posting those year-end journals back into your client's bookkeeping package, which is always a problem. It always takes time. If you give it to the client to do, even with a beautifully detailed set of instructions, they always manage to post something in the wrong place or post it to the wrong date or manage to mess something up on roll forward. So I'm going to demonstrate how perhaps this posting of the year-end journals will be a much more seamless process when using Open Integration. So what I'm going to do is go back to my Sync with Open Integration button and click Synchronize. It's only until you do this action that anything leaves Accounts Production and goes back into CCH OneClick. Now, if you only want your accounts users staying within Accounts Production, then that is all you would need to do. Once they've sent it back into OneClick, the overnight, every night sync would send that journal back up into your client's cloud bookkeeping system. We chose to do it overnight so that anybody within the system, particularly if your client is working on their information, doesn't get put off by a whole load of journals flying in during the day. And that's all you would need to do. Just so I can demonstrate how this would work, you can force a sync. So if you want to be working on absolutely live data from your client, then you can go into CCH OneClick and just click the sync button down here. We get a little message saying that the business is syncing, and as soon as that disappears, that journal should be posted back up into the bookkeeping package. So I'm going to log in now, and you'll notice this is the first time I've actually had to log in to Xero at all. We've been able to pull that data down, work with it, amend it, send it back up without having to log into Xero itself. Now, if I can remember the login details for this dummy client that I set up, then we should be able to get in and see that journal. Okay, so here's that accounting reports. Let's pull up the trial balance. Let's scroll down. I know what I've done. I have to change Xero always defaults to today's date rather than the year end. So let me just update that. And there we can see that the £1 million journal that I've put in there has flowed back up into Xero. So from my perspective, having done many sets of accounts and having to fire back adjusting journals, I think this will certainly be a big time and effort saver when I was in practice. So that's Open Integration, and again, like all the areas of functionality that we've been demonstrating for you today, that is another area that we're heavily working on over the course of the next 5 or 6 months to really improve the functionality that we have based on the feedback that we're receiving from you using it. And Natasha's going to have a little look at the roadmap so you can see what's sort of coming up with CCH OneClick.
Yep. So what is next with CCH OneClick? We released CCH OneClick in April of this year, and you know, since we got it out the door, we've had a huge amount of feedback from people in terms of what they want to see next, and we're in a really good position right now because having launched CCH OneClick, we now have it out the door and have you know, all the resource now focused on just, you know, improvements and adding new features that a lot of people have been requesting. So you know, on our roadmap, we've got, I mentioned some of the work that we're doing with the digital data collection. There's a lot of things that we're focusing on for the next couple of quarters. The idea being that we're going to release a whole bunch of new added items within that area for February, as I said, with the hope that people will be able to look at it and really test out that product and be comfortable with using it come April. What's not on this list, you know, is a message and document exchange system. We've had a lot of feedback on user voice over the past few months of things that people are looking for in CCH Portal that they would like added into the message and exchange system, and we are happy to announce that we're doing a lot of this work at the moment. So people will see coming out quite soon rich text formatting of messages, copying in other employees, that kind of thing, and that's all going to be released probably over the next probably in about a quarter or so. Now, it's probably worth mentioning at this point, if anyone happens to be a CCH Portal user, that these new features will be coming out within the CCH OneClick take So it will be of benefit for you to upgrade to CCH OneClick in order to take, take the full benefit of those new features. On top of that, we also have all the MTD for VAT enhancements that we've been looking at. We've had requests for open integration to link with Sage 50, and that's something that we are going to be working on. Customization. A lot of people really want to be able to add their own products and their own tiles into CCH OneClick, and CCH OneClick is really geared up to allow people to do that. We just have to build a little interface for someone to be able to link them up, and that's what we're going to be focusing on as well. And then, of course, making tax digital for income tax is coming up, and we have solutions for that. So that's really what's coming with CCH OneClick.
Okay, just to summarize what we've covered today and how CCH OneClick can help you on your digital journey or your paperless journey. We've got support for multiple bookkeeping systems, so that's the open integration that we demonstrated, and how actually you can run your whole accounts function from within our software without necessarily needing to dip out into all the various cloud bookkeeping products. So you can have staff that are trained solely in producing accounts and don't have to learn a myriad of different bookkeeping systems in order to do their job. We've looked at digital alternatives to the tax return information request and how your clients can get information to you a little bit quicker, a little bit easier, and in a format that means you can get that information straight into the tax return rather than having to do any manual rekeying. OneClick is your complete Making Tax Digital solution, so the functionality for VAT filing is there already, and the quarterly reporting again is there already, and we'll certainly be ramping up the work we do on quarterly reporting the closer we get to the mandation for that come 1st of April 2020. It helps you fulfill all your GDPR compliance obligations in that it's a secure method of exchanging documents between yourselves and your clients, and gives them the ability to approve any documents, so you don't have to have paper and wet documents going back and forth. And also through the Practice mobile app on both Android and iOS, your employees are able to access the data they need within CCH Central to help whilst on the move. Now, we are coming right up to the end of time. Luckily, we have had our colleague Steph silently working in the background to answer directly any questions that have come in. I think we've probably got time for the one question in the list that hasn't yet been answered. And it's a very controversial one, I have to say. If we are using a different tax software, how would this work in CCH OneClick if we want to send the company tax returns to clients? I would first ask, why on earth would you want to use other tax software other than CCH? won't delve into that one, but yes, absolutely, whatever products you're using outside of our suite, you can certainly take full advantage of the secure document exchange and approval, and indeed our document management software in order to store any documents that you're producing elsewhere. So if you are using other products, such as a tax software product, and you're generating tax returns, as in this case, then you can absolutely attach those tax returns, send it to your clients through our portal, have them approve it through that process, and store them within a document management system within CCH Central if that's what you need to do. Okay, so thank you very much everybody for joining. We will send out a copy of the recording, and if anybody has any burning questions that they didn't ask now but have come to them at a later date, then please do send those in and we'll get answers out to you. Thanks everybody for attending. Bye-bye.